Recording. Today I wanted to continue on from yesterday as the apex, the pinnacle point, which we could also call the crisis point of this 3-day protocol. And I call it the crisis point, and it's the peak because it's both the most powerful, the most challenging, and also the by far most misunderstood aspect of the process. And so I wanted to first reintroduce this process we want to engage in quickly before we make any work of this kind. It's a quick protocol for entering a state of awareness rather than a state of doing, returning to a state of being. And we want to do this whenever we're connecting with Source so that we're working from our source, our absolute, down through the totality to the total self, to the higher self, to this self-aware, self-conscious self, and then going deeper down into the subconscious and unconscious self, which again returns to this totality, this our total being. And we do that by first stilling the body. And I might suggest, if it's possible, one of the 3 postures. The simplest is just sitting in a chair. Hands in your lap, right hand sitting over the left, cupped by the left, so that your palms are crossed and your thumbs are touching. This is Buddha Mudra, and this is a simple relaxation pose. The second is also possible sitting on the floor. That might be more challenging for some, but sitting in lotus, half lotus, or even easy pose, which is almost like lotus, half lotus, but it's much more relaxed, but still the legs are crossed. The important part of this is that the shins cross. The shins cross one another because this is the 4th lock that's almost never talked about in yoga. We talk about neck lock, diaphragm lock, and root lock, or pelvic floor lock, but there's a 4th lock, and this is where the shins cross, and this relates to the constellation of Aquarius, this age we're moving into, which is becoming in alignment with the higher self. Third pose that we can also, or 4th pose we can also, is in prayer pose, but that's as in the Christian prayer pose where you're kneeling. So you're resting on your knees and the backs of your feet, not your soles, but the backs of your feet, and you're resting so that your buttocks is resting on your ankles and the heels of your feet, or they could even be tucked under so that you're resting on your soles. But the point is, this puts the alignment of your spine directly over the same place where your legs would cross, but your legs are together. What I learned from an ancient Egyptian master was that if you're legs aren't together when you're doing cobra pose, you're not doing cobra pose. That there's a need for these 2 points on the shin. They're almost to the ankles. These 2 points have to be as close as they can be together to effectively form this 4th lock. And as I said, the 4th lock relates to the age of Aquarius, and this is why it's so important. This is what connects the water, the living water, this energy of consciousness that we think of as the Kundalini. It facilitates it rising up the spine. This is like releasing a spring of knowing, not thinking or believing, but a spring of knowing that begins to inhabit our being. The very final poses we call in common language, the corpse pose. And this is how the Greeks meditated. It's lying down on the floor, face up, hands by your side with your palms up in a state of receiving. So now, whichever posture you're happy to adopt, please find yourself gently relaxing into that position. This is stilling the body. The next is to quiet the emotions. And we do that by becoming cool, because passions can run deep, both positive and negative. And we want to get deeper than those passions. We want to enter a state of dispassion. We want to quiet the mental chatter. And more importantly, we want to quiet the emotional turbulence that goes with the mental chatter. So you're not trying to stop the thinking, stop the mental chatter. You're just letting go. You let it come, you let it go. You don't follow the thought, you just recognize thinking. And you label it just thinking, thinking, thinking. You're not trying to not think, because that brings up anxiety. You're just aware of the chatter, and you're aware of the emotions that come with it. So you're trying to, or you're not trying, you are successfully dropping below any emotions, negative or positive, excitement or anxiety. You're cooling yourself down to a temperature below subspace, a temperature below outer space, below 271 degrees below zero, below Kelvin. You're at the state of complete emptiness of heat. So it's so cold that it's not cold anymore, because you can't feel anything. And from that empty place, recognize the mental space that begins to open. In that empty space, in that meeting place between you and the vast field of reality, there is no heat. You're not pulling anything off the field, either hope or fear, anxiety or anticipation. You're in the state of complete empty awareness. It's the void. Now, what's frightening or confrontational about this is The Egyptians called this Duat. The Greeks called it Tartarus. The Sumerians called it the Abuz. It's where we get the word absolute or abyss. It's the abyss, the bottomless black pit of nothingness. And this can be extremely confrontational. So I'm asking you to breathe deep and let go. Breathe deep and let go. Breathe even more deeply and let go. One final time, breathing deep, 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 deep. Count of 4, hold it for a count of 6. Hold it, 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 hold it. And now exhale for a count of 4. Imagine your consciousness going out to about 6 feet in front of you and let go and hold the breath out for a count of 2. We'll repeat that 3 more times. Inhale for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for a count of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold it out for a count. Hold it out for a count of 2. 1, 2. Inhale 4, 3, 4. Hold it in for a count of 4. 2, 3. Exhale more slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold it out for a count of 2. 2. 2 more times. Inhale for a count of 4. 2, 3, 4. Hold it for a count of 4. Exhale for a count of 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold it out for a count of 2. 2. One last time. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold it for a count of 2. Now I want you to bring your awareness to your heart center, the place just behind the height of the nipples, but directly into the center of the torso. So behind your rib cage, but in front of your spine. I want you to take your 2 fingers of your left hand, unless you prefer to stay in the mudra. And then if not, imagine the 2 fingers of your left hand touching your breastplate, your sternum, at this exact spot, at the height. If you drew a line between your nipples, that height, just touch the sternum and push a little. And now from that place, in the center of your chest, in the dungeon of your rib cage, feel that your consciousness is pushing back against your fingers. Feel this balance You push a little harder with your fingers. Your consciousness pushes a little bit harder against your fingertips. And one last time. Fingertips pushing even harder. Imagine your consciousness pushing back. And you will likely have noticed that your breathing has not returned to what it was before we began, but you're breathing at least as slowly as we were in that 16 count, 8 and 8, 4 in, hold, 6 and 2, exhale, hold. This breathing farther in, more out than you breathe in, begins to instigate in the body the growth hormone being excreted, produced and excreted. You're entering a state of regeneration without the anxiety that normally needs to stimulate regeneration, as in really strong physical exertion. So we're in a relaxed state of attention. I want you to quickly bring your awareness to your pineal gland. That's in between your temples, behind the third eye, behind the brow point. Without losing connection to your fingers touching the sternum. And if you do that, you are likely to begin to hear two sounds. One, there may be the sound of the sea, a kind of white noise static sound. You don't hear it, don't worry. You're also likely to hear a different, distinct, but similar sound, which is whoosh, 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 whoosh. That sound you might also feel physically, and that's the sound of blood coursing through your ears. Bring your awareness to that sound. And you may find as soon as you bring your awareness to it, and you're particularly aware of the rate of that pulse, it will begin by itself, on its own accord, to slow. So first we've slowed the breath, and it began to slow even more on its own. And now we're slowing the heart rate, but not consciously. It's begun to slow itself. This is deep meditation that's part of the Abhidharma Buddhist practice. Abhidharma is considered a philosophy, but the practices within it relate to entering this different state of experience, different state of awareness. Now, I've taken a while to describe that, but that's something you can do in a minute, easily in a minute. And from this cold, dark, empty place, which is what your mind actually is, the thing that's working within that sense of I am behind the eyes, that is artificially experiencing itself as trapped within the cavity of the skull, cranium. focusing on the pineal gland, which is like the tip of the antenna. We're now expanding out beyond that limitation. And it's from here that we want to begin our proper meditation. This protocol is what we want to engage in. Again, when we trade it, it can happen in a minute before we do any of our exercises. And now for today, coming forth by day. We are the field. We are the felt field. We are the sum total of our emotions and the emotions of others. We are a small field nestled inside an interdependent, interconnected field of emotion. And it's called a field because it's felt, the past tense of feel. Feel, ed, field. We are the field, and me, I am the river that runs through it. In this meditation, we're letting go of the past. We're relaxing the hands, either in corpse pose or in Buddha Mudra. The Buddha, has no karma. Why? Because it's not clinging to the past. The Buddha, Bodhicitta, the seed of enlightenment, doesn't cling to the past, nor does it grasp at the future. It's not recalling, and it's not predicting. It silences the parasitic word. The human language. And it begins to work purely on feeling. And now we want to think of really two phrases. The one is the opening phrase to this state, and then we concentrate on the second phrase. The first is, isn't it amazing? Say that quietly to yourself without verbalizing, just in your mind. Isn't it amazing? Isn't and amazing are the double doors onto the it. And the it is whatever you are dreaming of, whatever you long for, whatever you're searching for. But don't name it at this moment. Don't name it. Yesterday was about naming it, writing the invitation to your future self, writing down, listing, vividly describing who you're inviting into this future celebration at the end of the year and what you're inviting to this future celebration at the end of the year. You wrote an RSVP, Respondez s'il vous plaît. It's a request. Please reply to confirm your acceptance of the invitation and your promise to be there. You're sending that invitation to both you, your future self, who you will have become, because only that person could complete the manifestation of all the things you're also inviting to that celebration. You, the person you are now, could never do those things, and certainly not in the little time that you're giving yourself. But the person you are becoming, the person that you will become, the I shall be, could do all of those things without thinking, because it is the state of their being. The universe does not give you what you want. The universe does not give you what you ask for. The universe merely reflects back to you who you are. So all of this work we're doing is really about not creating an external reality. It's transforming our inner reality, which will then impose on the world the state of being that must be responded to. We're not demanding anything from the universe. We're commanding ourselves. And in that state of presence, all that we long for will come to us unbidden. We don't have to ask. So yesterday we wrote that invitation. We projected it. We gave it a name. And then we refined the name. We wrote it down. We drew it from the state of abstract absolute, one step closer to manifestation by writing it down. It's literally pulling it down into the manifest world. And now comes the powerful part. We're not going to name it. We're going to deliberately not name it. We're going to experience it. And that experience, it means a different kind of naming. It's naming it with the language that the universe understands, because it's the language that our body understands. Oh, through the past recent times, we've called this the law of attraction. But in truth, it has always been the law of resonance. When we vibrate, the strand fibers of our being, the universe has no choice but to respond to us. We start, it starts. We send out the projected note, the projected frequency. It responds like a speaker, like the radio receiver. It takes the message and then amplifies it so that it can be heard. That's what we're doing. I want you to, without thinking, with language, I want you to recognize that you are the maze. You are the maze. Everything is trapped within you. We're not trying to get out of the maze, of the matrix. We could call the mother matrix of all things magical. We're learning to be free within it. The soul comes for love and connection. But when it doesn't get what it wants, it starts to become possessive. And when it becomes possessive, it becomes controlling. And it's the control, the desire control of the soul that scares away our husband, Lord, the spirit of freedom. We could call this the thermodynamics of consciousness or thermodynamics of awareness. Within this dark, empty abyss, there is a longing to feel, to experience. So the soul comes out of that longing, the universe's longing, or God, the generating, organizing, and delivering principles of creation, spring up from this longing to know oneself, to enter a state of localized awareness from a state of unlocalized awareness, a state of fixed, pointed consciousness from a state of unlocalized, nebulous, chaotic awareness. And we need to balance these two things. And we do that by circumventing language, the mind-heavy aspect. The mind is the window to the spirit, but it also can be the glass ceiling that keeps us from experiencing spirit. The soul is this basic impulse for love and connection. So we're wanting to enter the body fully, enter the blood fully the way oxygen enters the red blood cells. This red, passionate desire to touch, to feel the presence of another, an other, to share an experience with one another, but not drop so deeply into that that we demand that it happens the way we want it to happen, because we're all in the same boat. And we're all caught in a flotilla of our own little boats. And everybody has the right to experience this life. Every tiny piece of life has the right to experience this overall experience of the one life in the way they wish to. So we want to enter the spirit of connection, or the experience of connection, with a spirit of freedom. It's respectful interdependence, respectful interconnection. Having our own sovereignty, our own authority, while allowing everyone else that same autonomy. So I'm asking now in this moment of meditation for you to let go of language in deference to the five senses. Picture in your mind that celebration at the end of the year. How does it look? Who's there with you? What do the surroundings look like? Picture it in gross detail. Where are you? What's the setting? What's the environment? What do you look like? What are you wearing? And then it's a celebration. So, yes, it's a full spectrum, multicolored rainbow of visual delight, like we have at all our celebrations, but never like the end of year ones. It's glitter, it's gold and silver and sparkles. Also be aware of what people are wearing, what you're wearing, and then what's the next most common focal point of any big celebration. It's the containment, the area you're within, and how you first appear to each other. But then celebration is almost always focused around food. It's the thing that we are primarily, as organisms, focused on, moving forward, looking towards food, which will help us move forward to find more food, to digest, to have the energy to move forward and look for more food. This movement forward is the nature of all life. And as I mentioned in yesterday's talk, we've recognized that there is a form field that exists throughout all life. And we're not growing because we're standing on the shoulders of giants. We're growing because who we are to become, the giant above us, is lifting us into becoming them. Release the giant within. Become that one who is lifting you now, the little one, lifting you up into that higher state of being, into that expanded awareness. And do it right now by seeing the food and tasting it. Really pick up something from that smorgasbord of your end of the year celebration. What's it taste like? What's it taste like? And then remember, taste has only five active tactile, sensual aspects to it, and we experience them on the tongue. But remember, what draws us up to a particular food that we're wanting to eat? It's the smell. Yes? So when we see something in our mind that we really want, what do we say? Oh, it's so close, I can almost taste it. But you first know about it and you most deeply experience the specific thing by its smell. There are so many tastes in the world, but their basic components reduced to five, and we get that from the tongue. So the greatest part of our experience of consuming a food that we perceive to be good for us, to enable us to move forward and find more food so that we can move forward, we can expand, we can grow, is the sense of smell. Allow your nostrils to become filled with the essence of freedom, with the essence of purity, with the essence of every dream you've ever had. And recognize that is the nature of human consciousness. It's the blossoming of pattern. The plant is a pattern of expansion, of recreation of itself, but it comes to fruition through fragrance of its essence. It admits to the world the fragrance of its essence in a blossom, in a bloom, a blooming, a flowering, which releases a scent. All your sensations are exactly this. It's a connection between you and the universe. Your blossoming, your awareness of all these sensations is listening to your body and projecting that out into the field. And now the field hears it and it projects back its essences, its sense. And you bring that sensation into this cold, dark, wet, cranial vacuum cavity. And all those things that you want become more real than the world you're sitting in right now. The future has become more real inside of your head than it is outside, where you're sitting or lying comfortably in a state of relaxed awareness. Recognize how true what you're experiencing feels to you. You've worked yourself into a state of you can't wait to taste. You can't wait to see, to taste, to smell those things you've created at this beautiful celebration. And now the question is, how does that make you feel? Both inside and out, both physically with a sensation and inside with an emotion. Emotions aren't real. They're sensations, physical sensations, which we label. I don't want you to label these feelings. I want you to experience them. Use your whole body. What is the joy, the energy you feel, literally energy you feel running through your body when you're at that celebration? Maybe you're all singing a song you haven't sung together for years, and it's a song that you all remember when you were really filled with joy. Hear that song, hear the music, hear yourself singing along with it. Hear all those other voices singing along with you. Feel it inside and feel it outside. You've got your arms around your dearest ones to you. Rocking back and forth in a huge circle. Each one singing your favorite song. each one singing the favorite note that makes your voice feel amazing. And recognize you've expanded the skin on your body. The hairs protruding through that skin are connecting your nervous system to the field itself around you. And you've created it's passing the second skin of architecture, your clothing, right? All that clothing that separated you from others is actually now connecting you because it's so rich. It's telling you about the celebration you're having. It's communicating on a visual level. And now you're expanding that to the group you're in. It's your family. Maybe it's your real biological family, or maybe it's, which is your actual family, or maybe it's your real family, your family before you came here. The souls, the spirits, the entities you've come to share this experience with. You know this has already happened. All of it's already happened. You've just come back to relive it, to experience again, because it feels so good to have that experience. And the experiencing you're remembering now in what seems to be the future, that's already happened. Expect it. Expect all the feelings you're having like it's already happened, because it has. You have that degree of confidence and that skin that forms this community you're sharing with. Expand that again to your group identity, whatever they're trying to shoehorn you into. Recognize how many group identities you have. There's the people you work with. It's the profession you're working within. It's the people you live near. It's the people you were growing up with. It's the people who have a same similar notion of how the world should be. It's the same people that look like you because of your skin color or your physical genetics. You're parts of so many different groups, and humanity is the one we recognize the most. So from your group identity, move into the group identity of humanity. This is the fourth skin of architecture, or fifth skin, excuse me. Move to that. And then we move from that sense of all human beings. Make humanity your highest sect, the siblinghood of light mind beings, human beings, and make the final step into the sixth skin of architecture, the architecture of consciousness, in that everything is one. Life is one, and you are just a tiny, but certainly not insignificant piece of life. You might be a tiny, 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 tiny piece of life, but you are a mighty mouse. Yes. And your greatness is in your smallness, because you can focus so much through such a tiny aperture. You can see the entire universe inside right now, because at one time you were looking at the world through those tiny pinpricks of the irises of your eyes. The irises, the pinprick, the pupil. And because of all those memories, you can create an entire universe inside of you. That is your greatness. You are the great magi, the magical king, because you exist as the field, the mother matrix, the magical, the queendom of impossibility, where everything is possible. I am possible. And the three kings, the three magi, the three magicians from the east, these are nothing more than the mind, the speech, and the body, through which you see, you hear, and you feel, you sense, tactilely sense the world around you. The real magic is because everything inside that you experience is a rendering, you can choose to change what you're rendering. And the way your brain is constructed, the way your brain was designed, is designed, and ever will be designed, is so that you can choose, you can command what you render. You don't have to comply with what has been rendered and projected onto you before. You are a self-sovereign being who can command reality reflect what you want by rendering through a full spectrum sensory experience inside yourself that reality. Now, this has been an hour long, almost an hour long meditation. We have 7 minutes to go. I want you to imagine coming back out of this meditation one step at a time, and then you can repeat this meditation again several times during the day. But because you've done it once, you can do it very quickly, almost in an instant, almost in the time it takes to close your eyes, render that future celebration, and then open them again. So we're going from the mind, reversing the process. We see it in the mind's eye, vividly see it. We recognize the pattern. We draw a line around that image that we're looking at, ourselves in the celebration, and we lift ourselves off the field and recognize that celebration will be no more real in 5 months than the one I'm having inside myself now, because what's inside will still be a rendering then, and no more than it's a rendering inside ourself right now. Your brain cannot recognize the difference. Your mind cannot recognize the difference because the brain's neural pathways to a memory and to an imagination are identical. They have to be used. Both processes use the same avenue of progress. And once you're recognizing that, enter a state of deep divine gratitude. Resist the words and go to the feeling of grace, of pure grace for the experience and for this truth we're sharing. You are the creator. The process of the unfolding, of the blossoming, of the blooming of your desired reality is this very process. You are asking for, you are commanding, and you are giving thanks for what we call in the Sikh tradition the gracious glance of Guru's gracious glance. We're looking into the future and seeing a reality that has not manifest. And it's the Guru inside of us that's doing that. And then the shared Guru, the spirit of freedom inside of everything, responds back to us saying, you don't have to impose your reality on anyone else. But when you share it willingly with a sense of allowing, all of the dreams can come true at once. This is then the pattern recognition. We look outside, we see patterns of behavior. We see how people have become who they are. Often people they never chose to be. And we take that inside of ourselves and recognize, yes, I am not the person I chose to be. But I choose now to recreate myself. It's a choice to let go of the past and open oneself to receiving the future. We want to ask ourselves really three things. We're entering into a state of what many would say is pure insanity. It's delusion. You can't do this. It's impossible. Who do you think you are? And on this journey, I have discovered that this is the biggest problem, that people think it's too complex, too difficult, or worse than that, absolute delusional insanity. But by using the process itself, by a tour de force of committing myself to this process and discovering whether it was real or not, I found that we have really three questions, four ultimately to ask. Is it simple? And yes, it is. You've seen how simple this process is. You've just experienced it in an hour, less than an hour. You've experienced a whole new possibility, and you've embedded that in your DNA by doing it through your feelings, your physical sensations. So is it simple? Yes. The next question, is it safe? When we're stepping out onto a limb, into the state of the unknown, the uncertain, we want to know if it's safe. And of course, we've done it in the safety of our own home. In fact, we've done it in the safety of our own head. But it's a life-changing experience. And even if you're not feeling it now, you've begun programming your body, and it feels good. It feels good for wanting more than it has. It feels good for wanting to become more. But it also feels it's safe to do that. because there's nobody outside telling you you can't do that or this is what's going to happen if you try that. Yeah, you've done it in the safety of your own mind. And then the question is it predictable? This is stepping into the negative aspect of the old mind body construct and stepping into a new version, which is it predictable? Yes, it is, because we're engaging in the art of a positive, sympathetic, parasitic relationship. We're choosing our language from the inside out. We're not listening to what the Jewish tradition that's recorded in the Talmud. We're not listening to the voice of the past. We're not listening to the voice of Adam's first partner, Lilith. This is just the subconscious mind programmed by those who came before us, which is just BS, bullshit belief systems imposed on us. They're not truths, they're just opinions of dead people. You're recreating who you are, and you're leaving all those voices behind. All those voices that you've had imposed on you, and they might be people that you're dealing with now, are just for you dead people. Doesn't mean that you disrespect or cut out people who are parts, integral parts of your life. You just command that you're not that person anymore, and you extend the invitation for them not to have to be the person they used to be, who projected and demanded you behave in the way they wanted you to. This isn't just your liberation. This is ridding yourself of the karma that connected you, which gives them the freedom to let go of the karma that connected you to them. You're cutting out the old spider web and creating a complete new one. Finally, one might ask, can I afford it? How much is this going to cost me? Well, first of all, forget about your resources. You are the creator. Think about your resourcefulness. And this is not a request for money, by the way, just to be sure everyone's clear. I'm saying, how much is it going to cost you? It's going to cost you every negative, hard held, limiting belief you ever had about yourself. That's what it's going to cost you. Because if you can let go of those, you'll begin to rediscover who you really are, which is not defined by your resources. You are your resources. You are the creator itself, the she, it, creating creation, creator creating creation. That's what it means to be created in the image of God. You are the creator, distilled down, an abstract archetype, shoehorned into the tiny box, the concrete expression of life itself.
Nicely put.
Bless you. And with that, it's the perfect time to finish. Thank you, sir, for being such a good host and calling time in exactly the right way. And now we want to just remember, if we're this jack in the box, how do we open the box? And that's what tomorrow's talk will be about. Thank you, everyone, for coming. This has been more than a privilege. It's been an absolute joy to share these things with you. And I hope you find them useful. Again, practice them throughout the day whenever you get the chance. Close your eyes. Live in that celebration. Live in that celebration. Bless you. And
Thank you.
I'll bid you good evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It has been mind blowing, amazing. Thank you so much.